Hello students, here I am gonna represent the difference in between CSS types from the Department of Information Technology. Myself, Professor Vibhavari Javle. So now onwards I will explain each and every important points regarding the internal CSS, external CSS and inline CSS. Uh, Firstly, I just want to explain the normal HTML program without having CSS included. See here I am taking one example. I have applied um, several sentences in between the H1, H2, H3, H4 and H5 tags. Now here this program is without CSS. Then when this program is being executed, then the execution or the execution screen should be seen as the output of without CSS should be like this, because here in this previous program we did not assign or use in any CSS. So whether it is internal in terms of internal CSS, external or inline CSS, here this program is shown the operation of H1, H2, H3, H4 and H5 tags over the sentences. If we applied the internal CSS on the previous program, then its execution screen should be seen as. First one is H1 tag sentence. It is in a blue color, then yellow, red, green and orange. So that means if I require to apply the internal CSS on the normal HTML program, we must define its style definition in between the style tag, but only inside the head section. अगर हमें इंटरनल CSS अप्लाई करना है, स्टाइल प्रॉपर्टीज अप्लाई करना है, तो वो कहाँ पर होगा? Only inside the head section in between the style definition. Now next one, the next CSS is external CSS. Now for this external CSS we must require the two files. The first one should be represent the normal, the basic structure of your program. Here in this file we are not going to add this style definition, but we must require to link in between the two files. We must require to represent the link here in this first file, which showing there is a link or a reference to the second file in which we assign style definition. See again, the sentences for H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 tags are there in a body section, but here there is no any style tag is used. But here again in a head section we only require the single line which is representing the format of the style and the reference of the CSS file in which we are allocating the style definition. Here the first file have to make diff underscore ext dot html. So that means I have allocating allocated the file name, that is a reference underscore external file. That's why I have given the name ref underscore ext.html. And here we use the link tag to make a link with the second file having name diff.css. I will show you the link, or this single line is must required to link the second file of CSS, and that line is link. It is the tag real, means relationship. It is the attribute we require. Link relationship is equal to style sheet. So those are the format of the style sheets. Style, the format of the style or the pattern of the style. It is only assigning the style definition over the text format. So that's why here I have allocated style is equal to text by CSS. And the last one, the file name and the reference we have to given. So that's why I have written here href. Href is equal to the file name should be their second file in which CSS definitions are assigned. It is diff.css. So it is all about the first file required to do the external CSS. एक्सटर्नल CSS अप्लाई करने के लिए हमको दो फाइल्स की ज़रूरत होती है. फर्स्ट जो फाइल होती है वो नॉर्मल जैसे HTML की फाइलें वैसी ही होगी, बट हियर स्टाइल की स्टाइल डेफिनेशन हम एलोकेट नहीं करेंगे, स्टाइल लिंक हम असाइन करेंगे, और वो भी कहाँ पर, इनसाइड द हेड सेक्शन, और वो भी एक लाइन में होगा. ये तीनों के तीनों जो एट्रीब्यूट है लिंक टैग के, वो उधर मेंशन होना चाहिए. एक होगा REL, स्टाइल एंड href. Now here I am going to show you the second file. Second file, its name is diff.css. Here I have only allocating the style definition format. CSS representation, it is only in the format of selector and its declaration. Here selector and the declaration, it is in terms of the tags we are use in our program. That means h1, h2, h3, h4 and h5. Second file, style.css, enlist only styles we supposed to apply on a various tags we use in a first file. So here I'm gonna show you the execution screen after execution of external CSS. See here, there is no any slide changes. So whenever you are dealing with the internal CSS, external or the inline CSS, the same changes if you require to do, the output should be remain same. See here, there is no changes of the color property we have applied on the h1, h2, h3, h4 and h5 tags. Now I'm gonna explain the inline CSS format. Here inline CSS format is slightly changed from the previous two CSS types, that means the internal CSS and external CSS, because we don't require to add the style definition inside the head section, or we don't require to link the style definitions included in the second file in this head section. Okay, so we can allocate the style applied particular of the tag we use, that means h1, h2, h3, h4 and h5. See here, if we require to apply the color blue only for the h1 tag, so while using the inline CSS we can use as h1 style is equal to color blue, and the remaining part of the sentence should be like this in between the H1. If we require the inline CSS over the H2 tag, then the syntax should be like this. H2 style is equal to, and inside the double quote, the property of the color is yellow, and remaining sentence should be like this in between the H2 tag. Same thing is applied over the H3, H4 and H5 tag. Now I'm gonna show you the output of this execution screen. Here it will remain same as there is no difference of the style definition we applied on the individual heading tags. Okay, so it is a difference in between the in between the internal, external and inline CSS syntax format. Now here again I am taking the basic format we require, syntax format we must require, so whenever we are using these types of CSS in our future. See, inline CSS, if we require to apply the color blue property over the P style, over the P, that means the P tag we use in a program, and the sentence is this is a paragraph, so it is the sentence we must allocate it in between the P tag open, P tag close. But here if you require to apply along with the inline CSS, then the syntax should be like this. P space style is equal to, and the style definition, style declaration, it is the color and the blue. Now if we talk about the internal CSS, then there is a changes. That means the style definition should be allocated in between the head section only and in between the style tag. So style, so there is no required to write here the style tab. Okay, style tab is equal to text by CSS, it is not important that much. Okay, so you can run this program without applying the text by CSS. Here in this example I have taken the body is selector and the background color is blue, and here I applied the style definition on the P tag also. Then the syntax for that is P, the, the color and the name of the property, then style tag close and in between the head section, so that means head tag close. Now we can talk about the external CSS. If we require to make a changes on the HTML file, so there is only requirement to add a link tag along with the rel attribute is equal to style sheet, the type is equal to text by CSS, and we should require the third attribute of the link tag, that means the style.css, and this entire sentence we must require in between the head section only. Here we don't require the style tag as we require it in a previous internal CSS. I hope you understood the differences in between these three CSS types. Thank you.